A lot of you guys have entered my Discord DMs and my comment section and my Gmails for some reason, and overwhelmingly you've all asked me this one question. I'm building an app. What's the simplest way to learn to start how? And in this video, I'm gonna do my best with my personal experience of building mobile and desktop apps that look like these. How you can actually do that as well. Let's start now. Yes, Flutter, what I put in the title will be what will make app development in general, desktop, mobile, Wear OS, car dashboards, all of these things a lot easier for you. So don't just take my word for it, watch the whole video. I'm going to show you the installation process, how things work inside Flutter, and how that compares with every other framework out there and alternative, so that you can form a decision for yourself and know that Flutter is truly the thing that will make app development easier for you. This part of this video is an installation guide, but if you just want to see the point behind using Flutter, skip over to the next chapter. Done. Now, for those of you who want to actually do something along with me inside this video, here goes. First, you need to get the Flutter runtime and add it to your environment variables, like anything else inside coding. Here's how you do it. You go to the Flutter website. I will give you direct links. And if you go to the Flutter website and you download the thing, you extract it, and you find this exact format I've put up on the screen, you just need to paste it into the path of your environment variables. The path variable inside your environment variable needs to hold this link. Got it? Once you've done that, you've pressed OK, you refresh your command prompt, and then you type Flutter. If nothing comes, you've done something wrong here. But if something that is correct comes, you've done something correct here. That's the goal of this. And once you've typed Flutter, you've got to type Flutter Doctor later. But before that, we need to get you an emulator. Because if you're doing it on the web, you need Node.js. If you're doing it on a Windows system, you want to develop an app for Windows, you need the .NET runtime for that. I haven't really used Flutter for desktop applications, but you need to get that emulator. Or if you just want Android, you get the Android Studio emulator. And Android Studio itself has this thing called a medium phone. And that medium phone can also act as an iPhone. So you can develop for both if you're doing for mobile. And the first way to do it is, you go to this website I've shown you and you download the Android Studio thingy, and you go to this part in your settings and you find out where the emulator SDK is. Okay, once you found that, copy it and put it in some Notes app for now, because in the next step we'll be setting it all up with VS Code. So once you get VS Code on, check out Android iOS emulator. Once you're inside of Android iOS emulator, you have to get to the settings of that. In the settings of that, you'll find Android emulator SDK path. And why you copied that thing to earlier, you take it and you put it in here. And once you put it in here, you're done for that part, which is emulating Android. And for the next step from here, you will have to just run this one command. Yay! You've run Flutter Doctor, and now everything is set up. I mean, you have to agree to 5 licenses, but I think after that it's all fine. You just have to do some Flutter upgrades here and there, re-download Flutter if you screw something up really badly. And with that, the installation guide is over. Boom. Now that we've set up Flutter, I'm gonna give you an idea of how easy it is to use compared to React.js with Electron and compared to .NET with WinUI and other platforms out there. So let me start. So in React and Kotlin, you use different files for the design and the backend. This separates the backend and the frontend into 2 components. These 2 components you write separately and you hope they work together. This creates lots of visual disparities, and I don't really like that. But in Flutter, all you have to do is learn to code one file and just build blocks Flutter is basically like using Lego, while every other platform is like using, a JCB machine and cement and bricks and then steel rods. Yeah, that is the best analogy I could think of. Flutter basically uses this thing called a stateless widget or a stateful widget. Stateful widgets are those that have to change based on a condition, and stateless widgets are for those static pages you just have to scroll through sometimes. For example, a file system or so. A dynamic page would be more like, I press this button, the widget expands, it gives me this effect, gives me this cool video playing effect. All of these come under stateful widgets. So with these two as the basics, you build your app, and everything that you code, you can code the backend inside Dart itself. So it becomes less of how do I code the front end and the backend and then I merge them. It becomes how do I just make this MVP of an idea that I have. So that is what makes Flutter so easy for beginners, guys, and that is what I love about Flutter personally. I wouldn't really like to admit them, but Flutter has lots of caveats, and let's start with the first one: bundle size. If you made the same app in Kotlin and Flutter, the Flutter one would be 75 megabytes and the Kotlin one would be around 25-ish megabytes. Why this 3 times size increase? Well, Flutter bundles its own graphics engine, and that can take up a lot of space. And it sometimes does not use Android native functions and instead prefers its own libraries to get shit done. Kotlin doesn't do that. So the app in Kotlin is smaller, Flutter is bigger. But if you builded an app bundle, which is the way to publish to the Play Store handles that shrinking down for you, no problemo. And yeah, that's the first caveat. Flutter files are usually bigger. And the second caveat is this. I said Flutter is faster to build with. It's not better to build with. There are 2 Rust-based options for mobile development as well as desktop development that push Flutter out of the fucking water when it comes to performance. Deoxtrace for mobile development and Tauri for desktop. And in terms of performance, these 2 are literal beasts. I would not even begin to compare Flutter with these. But again, Flutter is the easiest because you have one code base that splits into apps for lots of different functions. That's really amazing. And there's one more caveat as well, which I wouldn't really like to admit. Compared to Electron.js, which is basically React.js and anything else JavaScript put into one app, Flutter does not have that much functionality. Flutter has this thing called pubdev, which is like npm for JavaScript. And what are these magic words, bro? Well, they're basically libraries you get pre-built functions and modules out of so that you can build your own Legos on top of them. Or like you can build with their Legos on top of yours. So Flutter has lesser than Electron because I've been through both, I know, but Electron is slower than Flutter. Yeah. And don't even get me started on WinUI, because WinUI, I've had a very bad experience developing with it. I made this open source project called Conveniences, and WinUI just isn't good for that, let's just say, and stop there. And with that, we have one thing which is really important pending. And why is it so? Well, it's because after having all of these resources, what if you didn't have resources to learn about Flutter? That would be problematic, right? Like if there wasn't Brackeys for Unity, nobody would like Unity at all. That's a very huge statement, but it's a little bit true. So let's get to this one. Flutter has so much resources out there, it's crazy. The first one is MitchCoco. MitchCoco is basically the Flutter YouTube channel, the Brackeys of mobile app development with Flutter, if I say so. And the next thing that I would suggest is just go look at the Flutter official page. They have 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long tutorials. And then there's Free Code Camp. So with these 3 resources alone, and by the way, every backend service has a page for Flutter now. You can just copy paste that as a skill. You can actually build really great things with Flutter. Yep, the ending is that it all comes down to how skilled of a person you become at the end. But the most beginner friendly app development tool that you can use for desktop, cars, watches, phones, and whatever the hell, toasters, refrigerators, is Flutter. With that, I'd like to end this video. Okay, bye. My name is Monish, channel name's Monster. Click all the buttons to support us so I continue to keep making more videos. Till then, okay, bye. I'll catch you in another one. Boom.